Hey guys, philzeroyt here. Hope everyone had a great holiday. Mrs. Zero and I had a bunch of family stuff going on until like pretty much yesterday, hence the bit of absence, but we're back. And also as a reminder, the giveaway for some VIP tags signed by The Warning is still going on. Come on, focus. There we go. Yeah, the giveaway for these is still going on along with some merch samples. So if you want to enter, follow me on Instagram and send me a DM saying philzeroyt sucks along with your shirt size. And January 15th, I'll use a randomizer to go through the DMs and pick the winners. January 15th. Oh, that's this Wednesday. So let's get those DMs in. So this was my best idea ever. So some of you have asked why you have to DM me that to enter. First, because I think it's funny. And second, there's actually a practical reason for it, believe it or not. So on Instagram, I get a lot of messages, which is cool, but I also get a lot of like spam and junk. So if you send me philzeroyt sucks, I can immediately see which messages are from you guys, and I can kind of visually filter all that and count you in for the draw. So today, black holes. The Warning, as requested by you guys. Okay, let's get it. So we've got Pow on piano.
All alone in an alleyway, staring at my face. The reflections of broken bottles. Didn't know I had these many scars.
She's using two mics. The headset's probably turned off.
I got nothing left. Spent all my life trying to forget. Ignore your calls, suddenly throw the phone away. Please believe me when I say, don't hold on.
Wonder what the words are here. It must be something that hits home. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do something that I haven't done before on this channel, which is shut up and listen to the whole song without pausing, other than this pause. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because with acoustic singer-songwriter ballads like this, where it's completely stripped down, there's no drums, there's no anything, just a vocal and piano, guitar, or violin. The entire fundamental premise of these songs is to strike an emotional chord, to feel the story it's trying to tell and to see the picture it's trying to paint, right? So because the song's like entire effort is to provoke a feeling and not just headbang rock out party, I think I owe it to the song to just let myself be completely immersed in that instead of pausing every minute and tuning my brain to actively try and break down the structures and whatever. So I'm gonna assume the composition's probably gonna be pretty straightforward, like standard structure, as it is with most singer-songwriter ballads, and that's okay. Like, not every song needs to be a shred fest. So first time ever, I'm gonna listen to the entire song and do the breakdown at the end. Is that cool? Okay, musician mode off. And that's probably gonna get this whole video copyright claimed, but it, I don't care. I'd rather that than to make a video that doesn't make contextual sense. We're here for the music above all else. All I ask is that you hit that subscribe button. I'm poor.
All alone in an alleyway, staring at my face. The reflections of broken this many scars. I thought I'd won all my different battles, but I'm corrupt, I got nothing left. Spent all my love trying to forget. Ignore your calls, suddenly throw the phone away. Please believe me when I say, don't hold on. Left to give, 'cause I keep on coming, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crushing below, and the things I used to hold so close, they burn. And the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellites, and the venom starts to swallow me whole. Like black holes. Qué bonito cantan Ciudad de México. And I know that you try to stay, but my awful ways you'll never overlook. And all the things that hurt me, they got no remedy, and they'll start hurting you too. 'Cause I'm corrupt, I got nothing left. Spent all my life trying to forget. Ignore your calls, I won't throw the phone away. Please believe me when I say, don't hold on, don't hold on, and don't hold on to me. Don't hold on, don't hold on. I got nothing left to give, but I keep on coming, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crushing below, and the things I used to hold so close, they burn. And the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellites, and the venom starts to swallow me whole. Like black holes. Like black holes. Don't hold on, don't hold on. They don't hold on to me. Don't hold on, don't hold on. I got nothing left to give. Don't hold on, don't hold on. I surrender in my defeat. Don't hold on, don't hold on. Even black holes that let me be. 'Cause I keep on coming, begging for more, and I'm slowly falling, crushing below, and the things I used to hold so close, they burn. And the love that used to shine so bright was shattered like the satellites. Like black holes. Like black holes. Like black holes.
Yep. You got me. I felt that. Yeah, I need a sec. Yep. Okay, I need a beer and a steak. Need to
Watch some hockey, UFC, whiskey, protein.
Kidding, I'm kidding. It's okay to feel your emotions. So that worked. That worked real well. Whatever. Okay, so let's talk. So let's talk a bit about the song. So lyrically, and I don't usually do deep dives into lyrics, like I've always been more of a composition as a whole type of guy, because lyrics are pretty subjective. Is that the word I'm looking for? I guess all of music is subjective, but lyrics are subjective in like a different way, because the words and lyrics can be interpreted in many different ways, right? Whereas with like chords and notes, those are just sounds, right? But these lyrics hit different. Like, don't hold on to me. And yeah, this kind of hit home for me. And I think that's a very relatable thought that a lot of us go through at one point or another, where you feel that you're so damaged or such a wreck that you don't want to continue hurting the people around you or dragging them down like a black hole. At least that's what I got from the song. And okay, time to nerd out and brain dump a bit. So something that stuck out to me from the very beginning was all the cadence and melody changes in the verse. And these are especially important when writing ballads.
All alone in an alleyway, staring at my face, the reflections of broken bottles. Didn't know I had these many scars. I thought I'd won all my different battles, but I'm corrupt, I got nothing left. Spent all my life trying to forget.
You notice those little cadence changes? So with more fast-paced or like fuller songs, you can kind of get away with ignoring these because the energy's so high or because there's just so much going on. But when a song is so stripped down and it's a ballad, there's nothing to hide behind. Like, there's no drums, there's no bass, it's just acoustic instruments and a vocal. So kind of counterintuitively, like a lot of producers will say that the hardest song to record is an acoustic ballad where it's just a guitar and a vocal. And that kind of sounds weird, right? Because you would think it would be easier. And that's because with so few elements in the song, every little detail needs to sound pretty much perfect and everything needs to make sense. Like even down to the way the guitar pick like hits the string and the timings and the rhythms, like everything needs to be perfect because all of the focus is on that, right? Versus a song with like the full band and effects and harmonies and keys and bass. You can get away with more imperfections and you can get away with more production and more auto-tune and whatever. Or sometimes if like the song's mid, but you throw in a crazy shred guitar solo, like that alone can sometimes save the whole song. But when you have none of that and it's just a vocal and an acoustic instrument, there's nothing to hide behind. Like if you quantize the guitar too much or if your pick hits the string in a weird way or if you auto-tune the vocal too much, like you're gonna hear all of it. So any little imperfection in acoustic ballads, it sticks out like a lot. It's kind of like pizza. Like if you have a simple cheese pizza, just dough, sauce, and cheese. All three of those things need to be top notch in order to wow you, right? Because if just one of those three things are bad, like, you're gonna notice it. But if you have like a fully loaded deluxe meat lovers pizza with like pepperoni, bacon, sausage, peppers, onions, mushrooms, like, if the pepperoni's a bit dry, you're barely gonna notice, or you're not even gonna care. And that's what song compositions are like. Wow, I went off track, and I kind of want pizza now. So in a song like this, like, what is there? There's just piano and a vocal and violin, but that's it. So what tools do you have to make this a great song? You've got to use composition and lyrics and melody, rhythm, story, emotion. So you really need those cadence and melody changes to keep the listener engaged, and the vocal really needs to shine through. Because with ballads especially, it's really easy to want to use like these long drawn out notes throughout the entire song, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You just kind of run the risk of the song like dragging a bit. Let's try and find an example. Oh, they always play on the sharps and flats, and I suck at piano.
All alone in an alleyway, staring at my face, the reflections of broken bottles.
So let's see if you hear the difference if I took away all those little cadence switches in the melody. Da 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 da. It just doesn't hook you in the same way, right? And again, I'm not saying this is necessarily bad, because we don't want every ballad to do the exact same thing. And a lot of great songs were still written like this, but when you add those little cadence flares, it just brings the melody and the lyrics to life a bit more, and it's not so like weighed down sonically. So let's listen to verse 1 again.
All alone in an alleyway, staring at my face, the reflections of broken bottles. Didn't know I had these many scars. I thought I'd won all my different battles, but I'm corrupt, I got nothing left. Spent all my life trying to forget. Ignore your calls, only throw the phone away. Please believe me when I say, don't hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there, or else that chorus is gonna punch me in the gut again. Oh,
All alone in an alleyway, staring at my face, the reflections of broken bottles. Didn't know.
so you notice that vocal rhythm? Da 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 la da la da la da. That little da la da la da la da, that kind of breaks up the cadence that you were expecting, right? And then this next part with the melody change.
But I'm corrupt, I got nothing left. Spent all my life.
You notice that? The nothing left? So she's not going da 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 da, but instead she's going da 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 da. You hear the difference?
But I'm corrupt, I got nothing left.
Da 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 da. It's very subtle, but again, those little syncopated notes, it just breaks up the phrasing and the cadence a bit so the song doesn't fall into this kind of lullaby song that puts you to sleep. And I know what you're probably thinking, like, how can those little notes actually change how it makes you feel? But here, I'll prove it. So if you think of a lullaby for kids, like, hush little baby, don't say a word, Da 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 da. So the melody and the cadence, they don't really change, right? But if I switched up that cadence just a little bit, da 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 da, suddenly your ears were like, whoa, hello, what was that, right? So this composition trick with these subtle cadence changes, it's kind of like the songs going like, hey, stay with me, listen up. And you can use this trick in any song, not just ballads. It's just that ballads are more prone to this kind of lullaby sleepiness, obviously because of the slower pace of the song. But hey, again, that's not a bad thing. Like, maybe some writers are going for that sleepy effect. And then the pre-chorus again. Actually, let's look for the second pre-chorus without the crowd so we can actually hear Pau singing.
'Cause I'm corrupt, I got nothing left. Spent all my life trying to forget. Ignore your calls and throw the phone away. Please believe me when I say, don't hold on, don't hold on, and don't hold on to me.
And again.
Don't hold on, don't hold on, I got nothing left to give.
You notice that now, right? And I don't know if she wrote it like this right off the bat or if it was a revision. But like what I was talking about earlier is the first kind of reflex that a lot of writers would have when writing a part like this. It would probably be something like, don't hold on, don't hold on, don't hold on to me. But Pau switches the cadence up slightly just to give it some more sauce and to keep the listener engaged. Don't hold on, don't hold on. Hear the difference? Don't hold on, don't hold on. Versus, don't hold on, don't hold on. And this trick is something I notice they do a lot in their songs. And the more I hear it, the more I think it's like one of their main secrets of how their songs are so engaging. It doesn't matter if it's a ballad or a headbanger rock song. They just always know how to keep you engaged in the song. And then the rest of the song is in standard structure, which is all it needs. And yeah, good song. Pau's voice sounded incredible, great lyrics. It made me feel the thing that it was meant to make me feel. Feel zero.
Okay.
So what song should be next? I'm making my way through their entire discography. Still got ways to go. Cause when I searched the song, everyone seemed to do Black Holes and Breathe at the same time. Oh, hey, Ashlina. And I had originally thought about doing both at the same time, but I know that I talked too much and the video probably would have dragged on a bit too long. Does that mean I should do Breathe next? Yeah, why not? Let's do Breathe next. So if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing. And as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.